All right, man. We back, man. We back. Hey, man, this internet was on some real BS, bro. I'm telling you. Smash the like button and get back up in here, man. We're going to take it back from the top. Straight goofiness, homie. Goofiness from this damn internet. I'm in the middle of my show cooking, doing my thing. Then all of a sudden, this stupidity takes place. Then I got to start all over. I got to fire the live stream back up. Yeah, man. Hit the like button, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Tap back in with your boy, man. It ain't over, man. We just getting started. You know, that right there puts a whole monkey wrench in the game, though, man. You feel me? The numbers are climbing. The notifications are going out. Then all of a sudden, we deal with stupidity like this. Hit the like button, man, if you haven't already. To all my people that was in the chat, come on back, man. We're going to finish this thing, man. Happy Saturday, right? Now, this guy is talking about reparations, and my thing is this. When you sell something, you don't get reparations. You got your reparations when you sold it. You were paid for this land. You got paid. The white man gave you money. So the reparation talk is like, wow, my thing is this. I've never heard Mexicans talk about reparations ever. Anytime we get something started as black folks, everybody else follows suit. Everybody copies our blueprint. Now all of a sudden you got Mexicans talking about reparations. Huh? Cox is supposed to be the best provider, man. You can say, I hear you, Cat 6, but they say Cox is the best internet provider with the highest speeds. And guess what? In certain areas, it could be trash at times. Sometimes it works good. Sometimes it could be trash. You just never know. You just never know. Anyway, they're trying to stop my flow. That's what they're doing. Anyway, let's get back to the conversation. Let me tell you something. California was Mexico from 1821 to 1848. So Mexico owned California for only 27 years. That is short-lived. That was short-lived. That's not a long time. Well, Mexico should ask Spain for reparations, but Spain ain't gonna give you a damn thing. You ain't gonna get nothing talking about, hollering at Spain. If Mexicans want reparations, they got to get that from Spain. Spain is the one who colonized Mexico and forced you guys to speak Spanish, not America. America didn't force you to do anything. You sold Texas, you sold California. You made a decision to sell that land. You're not owed anything. If anybody's going to give, and I'm not even going to say if anybody's going to give, Spain ain't going to give Mexico nothing. But to be real, Spain is the one who colonized you, took your language, stripped you of your culture, took over your land. How come you're not going to Spain? That argument, Mexicans should be upset with Spain, not the United States of America. The United States of America has allowed millions of Mexicans to cross this border illegally for the sole purpose of dumping anchor babies for birthright citizenship. Huh? So don't be mad at America. If you want reparations, you need to holler at Spain. Straight up and down. Let me tell you guys what Mexico was doing. I gave this car analogy, but I want to break it down again because the last show was shut down so rudely. Check game, homies. That's like if I got an old car, right? It's a hoopty, it's a bucket. I sell it to somebody, and the person that I sell it to, they put rims on it, they put some candy paint on it, they put a brand new motor in it, transmission, brand new interior, a sound system. All of a sudden, I come back 10 years later. I say, hey, homie, I want my car back, man. Hey, homie, can I get my car back? No, homie, when you sold that car to me, it was a bucket. You waited until I fixed it up, made it look like something. All of a sudden, you talking about I want my car back, but you sold the car in the first place. But when you sold it to me, it was a hoopty. It was a bucket. America fixed California up. America fixed Texas up. And now they say, hey, Holmes, we want our land back. Hell nah, this ain't your land. California was nothing when Mexico owned it. Texas was nothing when Mexico owned it. The United States of America built the place up and turned it into something that Mexicans said, man, we want our land back. We feel like we deserve reparations. Man, please. Oh, man, just imagine that, though. You sell your car, it's a bucket. The new owner fix it up. You come back 10 years later, say, hey, man, I want my car back. That's exactly how they sound. Make sure that you guys bless the like button. It ain't nothing. And my thing is this. If you want to talk about land, there's no shortage of land in Mexico. If California was still under Mexico's rule, none of these people would want to stay there. They want the American version of California. They don't want the Mexico version of California. Now that the United States has built it up, now all of a sudden they say, this is our land. We want it back. There's no shortage of land in Mexico. There's tons of land in Mexico. Plenty of areas in Mexico where you can build. So land is not the problem. Clearly, that's not the problem. Anyway, man, I want to get back to the top of this conversation. We was rudely interrupted by the internet. I had to fire everything back up, but Red Supreme King Supreme is back on a mission. Make sure that you bless the like button. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Let's dive straight into the conversation. Jack?
People who have, you know what I mean, a high percentage of indigenous bloodline in our DNA. Do you think we should be
When Mexico owned California and Texas, there was no development. There was no infrastructure, nothing but a bunch of open land. There was no development when Mexico owned it. Nothing. The United States turned California into what it is today. The same for Texas.
Having like starting like a movement with reparations, because a lot of our people, you know, we've been pretty much I guess like destroyed with our indigenous language and culture. So we pretty much kind of adapted to the Spanish cultura, and a lot of these African Americans and even the Caribbean Sea and even parts in Africa. They've been claiming with reparations. We like pretty much the only ones who just quiet and not even doing nothing about it. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess it'll be because we've been quiet and nothing's happened. But go ahead and touch on it.
The reason that Mexicans was quiet because in the 1930s, Mexicans fought to be legally white. Right? I'm going to show you a clip from the LULAC organization. I played it yesterday, but it makes sense to play it again today for this show. Right? Mexicans did fight to be legally white in the 1930s. So if you're fighting for white proximity, when you're fighting for white proximity, it is impossible to fight against white supremacy. You're not fighting against white supremacy. You fought for proximity to whiteness. Right? You wanted to be close to white folks. You felt like you would have more opportunities if you identified as being white. And that's what Mexicans did in the 1930s. They fought to be legally white. So you cannot fight against white supremacy when you are fighting to be accepted by that same group of people. It is impossible. That's why Mexicans ain't never said nothing. You know why Mexicans are talking about reparations now? Because they hear black people talking about reparations. They realize what we got done with the civil rights movement, how we accomplished that. Now that we're fighting for reparations, they're like, damn, blacks might get reparations. Maybe we need to fight for some damn reparations. But here's the difference, Mexicans. You guys sold California, and you only owned California for 27 years, 1821 to 1848. That was short-lived. You're not owed anything. You're not going to get reparations. You sold California and Texas. You don't get money for some shit that you sold to another group of people, to another race of people. You don't get reparations when you sold the damn land. Anyway, let's get back to the content.
And a lot of these African Americans and even the Caribbean Sea and even parts in Africa, they've been claiming with reparations. We like pretty much the only ones who just quiet and not even doing nothing about it. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess it'll be because we've been quiet and nothing's happened. But go ahead and touch on it, bro.
Most definitely,
Okay.
bro. I 100, 1000 agree with you, homie. Yes, we should. There should be, marches done about it. We should be speaking about that. But you also have to keep in mind, how much would these reparations even do for the community? And then how do you decipher who is indigenous and who is not? And then
Right,
you
yeah.
have to take into account that this land that we're living on, whether people want to feel disrespected by what I'm gonna say, this is the chosen land. This is our land. I do not consider this the United States, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. This is our land. We did not cross no borders. This was promised to us.
Right.
This is our land. So
Okay.
by reparations, we need our land back. You can go now. So if
You got Mexico and you don't want to live there. You don't want to live there. See, this is how delusional this guy sounds. Well, how delusional he really is. Give us California after America built it. But there's no shortage of land in Mexico, but he won't live in Mexico. There's tons of land in Mexico. How come you're not fighting to build Mexico? But you want the California version. You want to take California now that it's built up by the United States and say this is Mexico. But you won't go and build Mexico when there's tons of land in Mexico. This doesn't make any sense. This is foolish. He wants to use the benefit of the United States of America, but then still claim that this is Mexico. But he won't build Mexico, and there's tons of land over there. There's tons of land in Mexico that you can be building up since you take so much pride in Mexico. I'm just saying.
anybody's going to speak up about that, though, that would be a big part of our reparations. Not just money, give us money, and then what are you going to do? Spend it, and then what are you going to have left? That was part of their agreement when they made all these agreements with indigenous tribes as well as the North American Indians, which aren't separate from us. They're the same. They said they offered them.
Right. Imagine what California and Texas would look like if the United States of America would have never took over. Imagine what it would look like. They would be fleeing to get up out of there. If California and Texas was still, if it was still under Mexico's rule, they would be fighting and fleeing by the millions to get up out of there. This is a dumb conversation, a foolish argument. None of these people would want to live in Cali in Texas if it was still under Mexico's rule. I'm telling you. You know what the United States of America should say? Okay, you want California and Texas, we're going to take all the infrastructure away, all the money, all the resources. We're going to take it, and you guys can have it. And watch and see that they flee by the millions if you gave it back to them. I promise you.
Money, minuscule amounts of money for their land, and they were conned into doing these things, bro. And they turned us against each other. They made us worship all their shit. They cut us. They do for the community. And then how do you decipher who is indigenous and who is not? And then you have to take into account that this land that we're living on, whether people want to feel disrespected by what I'm gonna say, this is the chosen land. This is our land. I do not consider this the United States, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. This is our land. We did not cross no borders. This was promised to us.
Right.
This is our land. So by reparations, we need our land back. You can go now. So if anybody's going to speak up about that, though, that would be a big part of our reparations. Not just money, give us money, and then what are you going to do? Spend it, and then what are you going to have left? That was part of their agreement when they made all these agreements with indigenous tribes as well as the North American Indians, which aren't separate from us. They're the same. They said they offered them money, minuscule amounts of money for their land, and they were conned into doing these things, bro. And they turned us against each other. They made us worship all their shit. They cut us. Like I said, they used to cut off our piochlis, our warrior braids. They put us into their indoctrinational system of teaching us these things that we're going to consume our spirit and consume our lives, bro, such as our dietary law that they told us milk is good for your body and all this, and you got to learn this, and you have to learn our language. You got to learn Spanish. You got to worship these idols. You have to do this. And they robbed us of our prayer. They robbed us of our dance. They robbed us of our history. They robbed us of our complexion, of everything, bro. So reparations should come with speaking about getting our land back. How come we can't have a yacht? How come we can't have a Lamborghini? How come we can't take trips all over the world?
Let me address this dude right here. Let me show you your ignorance, right? He said our brown brothers go through the same struggles, though. Stop all this division on both sides, man. No, they don't. Mexicans volunteered to come over here. They came over here illegally. They volunteered. They're not oppressed. They sold Cali and Texas to the United States of America. Nobody forced them to come over here. If Mexicans are being oppressed, they're being oppressed by their own people in Mexico. So why don't they fight against oppression in Mexico? They're not being oppressed here in the United States of America. That is a bold-faced lie. They don't go through the same things that we went through. Mexicans fought to be legally white. Foundational Black Americans never fought to be legally white. We fought for equality and equal opportunities, but we never fought to be legally white. So no, we don't go through the same things. Clearly, there's a big difference. There's no black and brown unity. When have you ever seen Mexicans and Latinos fighting for something that benefits foundational Black Americans? You've never seen it, but you've seen foundational Black Americans fighting for civil rights and many other things that benefit other people of color and minorities. Mexicans and Latinos ain't never fought for anything that's beneficial to foundational Black Americans. Never in the history have they done it. I'm going to show you a video of the LULAC organization so that you can see how Mexican civil rights leaders truly feel about Black folks. I'm going to show the video in another 5 minutes. This fool said we go through the same stuff. That is a bold-faced lie. The hell we don't go through the same stuff. Talking about we go through it. Man, you tripping.
You know, how come we can't dine in these restaurants and eat good ass food supposedly? You know, how come we can't have all that shit? You know, so we need to get together and stop destroying ourselves and be manipulated by these people.
No, I've done my homework. Mexicans fought to be legally white. They did. I've studied it. I did the research. I know what I'm talking about. The LULAC organization, Felix Tiajera, if I'm saying his name right, he was the president of the LULAC organization. He said Mexicans belong to the Caucasian race. Your civil rights leader said this, not me. Those are not my words. Those are his words. You never seen Black civil rights leaders shit on the Latino community, but you have seen the Mexican Latino civil rights leaders, the LULAC organization. You did see them shit on Black people. Talk crazy about Black people, saying how we don't want to be allied with them. We don't want nothing to do with Blacks. We believe they're beneath us and they don't deserve the same things that we get as Mexicans. The Mexican civil rights leaders said that, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show you the video right after this. You talk about not doing you talk about somebody who ain't done no research, somebody who don't understand the history of this country. In the 1930s, Mexicans fought to be legally white. That is a fact.
That are only trying to destroy us. We need to stop going on their platforms and making them richer, you know. And I'm saying that people are gonna try to flip my words, you know, that I've been on certain podcasts. Well, these are white guys or whatever. But the message that I'm speaking on these platforms is a message of waking the fuck up.
And the message never changes.
Right. The message is the same. We just need to start talking. Yeah, of course, talking about it, but more than that, taking action. And be strategic in our action. We need to know our history and where we come from. We can't just have a big ass platform and say, oh, I don't give a shit about history. You know, we're talking about this, carnal, and we're this and this and that, and I'm gonna make up a word. No, you can't do that. You gotta know about your culture. You have to know about where you come from so you can know where the fuck you're going and what you're supposed to do.
All right, let's go to the next clip, right? I'm gonna show you how some of the founders in California were actually Black folks, right? Check this out. Check this out.
Vast territory to establish Los Angeles in 17.
I'm gonna let a white guy tell you, because you seem to believe what the white folks tell you. I could give you this history from a Black person perspective, but I'm gonna let this white man tell you how some of the founders of California were actually Black people. Let's get it.
One were Black or African descent. And here's the really shocking part. This erasure was so complete that today most people living in LA have no idea who actually built their city. We're talking about one of the most successful cover-ups in American history. Today, we're going to go full detective mode to uncover how an entire city's origin story got rewritten and why the truth is finally coming to light. Picture this. It's September 4th, 1781. The sun is beating down on a group of 44 settlers trudging through what is now Southern California. They're carrying everything they own: tools, seeds, livestock, and dreams of a new life. These pioneers are about to establish El Puerto de Nuestra Señora La Reina de Los Angeles. I hope I got that right. The town of Our Lady, the Queen of the Angels. In a few centuries, this tiny settlement will become the sprawling metropolis known as Los Angeles. But here's where your history textbook probably never told you. When Spanish officials recorded the racial composition of these founding families, the documents tell an incredible story. According to the official colonial census, 26 of the 44 founders were listed as Negro, mulatto, or mestizo, or of mixed African heritage. That's not a typo. That's not a historical anomaly. More than half of the people who founded what would become America's second largest city were black. So how did this story disappear so completely that even...
See, this white man is talking about how they tried to erase that from history. How most of the people who founded Los Angeles were black people.
An incredible story. According to the official colonial census, 26 of the 44 founders were listed as Negro, mulatto, or mestizo, or of mixed African heritage. That's not a typo. That's not a historical anomaly. More than half of the people who founded what would become America's second largest city were black. So how did this story disappear so completely that even most people from Los Angeles today have never heard of it? To understand how Los Angeles really came to be, we need to go back to the Spain's colonial strategy in the 1700s. The Spanish Empire...
You're not fighting. You're fighting across the border. Let me tell you something, John Lopez. Your people are fighting across the border, right? And I got to be real with you, homie. Your people have civil rights based on what we fought for, not the other way around. John Lopez is so stupid that he doesn't realize that the only reason that Mexicans and other minorities and people of color, the only reason that they have civil rights is because of foundational black Americans fought for the civil rights that you enjoy when you come to this country. Mexicans and Latinos ain't fought for nothing that benefits black folks. Never in the history of this country have they fought for anything that benefits us. Meanwhile, they benefit from the civil rights that we fought for. They benefit from the 14th Amendment that we fought for. We ain't never benefited from anything they fought for. So you talking about fighting, you are fighting across the border illegally. That's what you're fighting for. You're fighting for the right to break the law. You're fighting for the right to cross the border illegally. Yeah. You want to talk about fighting for something. Man, please.
Empire controlled vast territories across the Americas, but California, it was a problem child. It was expensive to maintain, difficult to defend, and it was sparsely populated. Russian fur traders were creeping down from Alaska, and the British were eyeing the Pacific coast. Spain needed settlers, and they needed them fast. But here's where the Spanish policy gets really interesting. Unlike other European powers who primarily recruited white settlers, the Spanish had developed a complex understanding of who actually succeeded on their frontier. Spanish administrators noticed that the people of African and mixed heritage were often more successful at frontier life. They were experienced with diverse climates, skilled in agriculture, and they had the survival skills that they developed over many generations. In Spanish colonial thinking, they were the ideal.
I'm going to show you how dumb trap life sounds. The majority of Mexicans voted for Donald Trump. If anything, foundational black Americans voted for your best interests as Mexicans and Latinos. Even though it was stupid, I think they're stupid for voting for Kamala Harris. This is the reality. You got this Mexican lover in my comment section saying you sound like a Trump supporter, man. The majority of Mexicans and Latinos who voted for Donald Trump. So Latinos are the Donald Trump lovers. They are the Anglo lovers. They are the white male worshipers. If you look at how black Americans voted versus how Mexicans and Latinos voted, the majority of Latinos voted for Donald Trump, not black Americans. You talk about being uneducated and not knowing what you're talking about. Damn, dude, you need to educate yourself before you start talking stupid in my comments. The majority of Mexicans who voted and the majority of Latinos, period, voted for Donald J. Trump. So if anybody loves MAGA, it is Mexicans and Latinos. Make America great again. Without you, close the borders.
Colonists. So when Felipe de Neve, the Spanish governor of California, put together the Los Angeles expedition, his recruiters specifically sought out these families. They offered incredible incentives. You know, everything from free land, livestock, farming tools, and a guaranteed salary for a couple of years. The expedition wasn't random. It was very carefully planned. Each family was chosen for specific skills. There were farmers, blacksmiths, soldiers, and craftsmen, and the majority happened to be of African descent. Now, let me introduce you to some of these founding families. There was Jose Vangellas, listed as Indian, who brought crucial knowledge of local agriculture.
All right, let's go. So now you know half of the founders of California were actually black people, right? But you got a lot of uneducated people who want to talk about something they know nothing about. They don't even realize half of the founders of LA were black people. They don't know. They're ignorant.
Many of the soldiers, California is usually told with a gleam of gold, the spread of railroads, and the rush of dreamers who poured into the western frontier in search of fortune. It is painted as a saga of Spanish conquistadors, Mexican rancheros, white prospectors, Chinese railroad workers, and waves of European immigrants. But buried beneath these common threads of historical memory is another story, one that has been deliberately muted or forgotten, yet is essential to understanding how California was truly built. It is the story of black settlers, men and women of African descent, both free and formerly enslaved, who carved out lives, communities, and legacies in the Golden State long before Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and the myth of a white frontier paradise took center stage. Their footprints are found in early cattle ranches, gold fields, farming valleys, schools, and even in the foundations of California's legal and cultural landscape. Yet, for over a century, the narrative of their existence has been hidden, pushed aside by a broader effort to erase black contributions from the epic of the American West. When the Spanish Empire first colonized California in the 18th century, it was not only Spaniards who came. Many of the soldiers, missionaries, and laborers who helped establish presidios and missions were of mixed African descent. California was, after all, a distant outpost of New Spain, and New Spain was a society deeply shaped by African heritage. In fact, records show that several of the men who marched north with Gaspar de Portola and Father Junipero Serra, the very expedition that founded modern California in 1769, were Afro-Mexican. These black settlers were integral in laying down the earliest towns and defenses of the region, participating in expeditions, and shaping the cultural fusion that still lingers in California traditions of food, language, and music. One of the most remarkable figures of early California was Pio Pico, born in 1801, who would rise to become the last Mexican governor of California before it was seized by the United States. Pico was of African, Indigenous, and Spanish ancestry, a reminder that the politics of California before statehood were not a simple tale of white supremacy, but of layered identities and power. He owned vast lands, ran successful businesses, and was a political heavyweight during one of the most turbulent times in California's history. When Americans took California during the Mexican-American War in 1846, Pico's legacy was deliberately minimized.
I went to P.O. Pico Middle School. It's an elementary and a middle school. It's on Pico and Arlington. P.O. Pico was a black man. You see the man's pictures, he was black. He was an Afro-Mexican, right? Because blacks been in Mexico for centuries. So they named Pico Boulevard is named after Pico. I went to P.O. Pico Middle School. They had his statues and you know, his statue. There was books about him. I read the books. I've been knowing about P.O. Pico because I went to P.O. Pico Middle School in Los Angeles. Pico and Arlington for sure. So I've been knowing about the black history of Los Angeles and how half of the settlers who built and founded California were black. You can't expect, listen, but you can't expect for whitewashed Latinos to acknowledge that. It goes against their teachings. It goes against their indoctrination. Half of the settlers who built Los Angeles were black folks. You got the nerve to talk about your old reparations. Man, you sound crazy. If anybody owes Mexico reparations, it is Spain. The United States of America don't owe Mexicans a damn thing. Spain is the one who stripped Mexicans of their language, stripped them of their culture, took over their land. So if you want to talk about reparations, you need to holler at Spain in Mexico, not here in the United States of America.
American roots often ignored or glossed over in accounts of California's political transformation. Yet his story embodies the truth. Black and mixed heritage settlers were central to California's governance and economic foundation long before businesses.
I need everybody that's watching to bless that like button, man. We was live earlier. We was rudely interrupted by the internet. We had a glitch, so I had to start all over. So if you're really rocking with the channel in a major way, don't be a hater, be a congratulator. Bless that like button. It ain't going to cost you a damn dime. Now let's get back to the content, Jack.
And was a political heavyweight during one of the most turbulent times in California's history. When Americans took California during the Mexican-American War in 1846, Pico's legacy was deliberately minimized, his African roots often ignored or glossed over in accounts of California's political transformation. Yet his story embodies the truth. Black and mixed heritage settlers were central to California's governance and economic.
Mount Vernon is on Washington. I went to P.O. Pico and Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is on Washington and 8th Avenue right before you get to Crenshaw. That's where Mount Vernon is on Washington. P.O. Pico is on Arlington and Pico. I went to both schools, bro. I went to Mount Vernon and P.O. Pico.
Foundation long before the gold rush brought waves of outsiders. The gold rush of 1848 is perhaps the most famous chapter in California history, and it is here that the presence of black settlers expanded dramatically. Thousands of African Americans, some free, some formerly enslaved, traveled to California in hopes of striking gold and earning wealth beyond the oppressive constraints of the South and East. The promise of California was unique. Unlike in much of the United States, California entered the Union in 1850 as a free state, legally prohibiting slavery under the Compromise of 1850. That promise attracted pioneers like Mifflin Winston Gibbs, a prominent black businessman who left Philadelphia and settled in San Francisco. Gibbs co-founded the first black newspaper in California, the Mirror of the Times, in 1852, giving voice to African American communities and challenging racist laws. Another towering figure was Bridget Biddy Mason, born into slavery in Georgia. She was forcibly brought west, eventually ending up in California. Once she discovered that California did not legally recognize slavery, Mason fought for her freedom in the courts and won. She went on to become a wealthy real estate investor, philanthropist, and midwife in Los Angeles, laying the groundwork for black communities in Southern California. Mason's journey from enslavement to prominence demonstrates how black settlers used California's unique legal environment to carve out lives of dignity and prosperity, even while facing constant hostility. But prosperity did not come without immense struggle. While slavery was technically banned, California was not free from racism or discriminatory laws. Black miners in the gold fields were often taxed, cheated, and denied claims. The 1850 fugitive slave law threatened their security, as slaveholders from the South sometimes pursued African Americans.
And let me tell you something. California was Mexico from 1821 to 1848. So 27 years. California was Mexico for 27 years. Texas was Mexico for maybe 17 years. Texas was Mexico from 1821 to like 1836 or 1837. So Texas was Mexico for only like 17 years. That's a short run.
Americans who had fled west. The state also enacted laws that denied black people the right to testify in court against whites, a devastating barrier. Black miners in the gold fields were often taxed, cheated, and denied claims. The 1850 fugitive slave law threatened their security, as slaveholders from the South sometimes pursued African Americans who had fled west. The state also enacted laws that denied black people the right to testify in court against whites, a devastating barrier that left them vulnerable to violence and exploitation. Yet despite these legal chains, black settlers persisted, building churches, schools, businesses, and newspapers. In San Francisco, Sacramento, and Marysville, black communities organized statewide conventions in the 1850s and 1860s to demand civil rights, petitioning the government and laying the groundwork for California's later civil rights struggles. Black contributions also stretched beyond politics and community building into physical infrastructure and economic development. Many African Americans became ranchers, farmers, and skilled laborers, sustaining California's booming economy. Others turned to entrepreneurship. William Leidsdorf, born to a Danish father and African mother in the Virgin Islands, became one of the wealthiest men in early San Francisco. He was a ship captain, trader, and real estate mogul, eventually owning thousands of acres of land. Often called the African founding father of California, Leidsdorf helped establish San Francisco's first school, invested in railroads, and played a pivotal role in California's admission to the Union. His influence was so vast that the U.S. government considered purchasing his property after his death to serve as a naval base. Yet his story, like those of so many others, was erased from popular memory because of his African heritage. The hidden presence of black settlers in California extended even into the Civil War era, when the Union struggled to keep the West loyal. African Americans in California raised funds to support black troops in the Union Army and pressed for the recruitment of black soldiers in California itself. Although California did not officially form black regiments, African American communities here sustained the war effort through money, activism, and journalism, linking their fate in California to the broader destiny of the nation. Even after the Civil War, when freedom was no longer in question, black settlers in California continued to face barriers that sought to keep them invisible. Housing covenants in Los Angeles and San Francisco barred African Americans from buying property in many neighborhoods. Employment discrimination forced many into menial labor despite their skills. Newspapers and official histories erased their achievements, portraying California as a land built exclusively by white pioneers. Yet black Californians remained undeterred. Families like the Owens of Los Angeles rose as successful entrepreneurs, while communities in places like Allensworth, a town founded by black settlers in 1908 in Tulare County, embodied the vision of black self-determination in the West. Allensworth was established by Colonel Allen Allensworth, a formerly enslaved man who became a U.S. Army chaplain.
Allensworth is out there by Bakersfield, and that was a prominent black town back in those days, right? So a lot of Mexicans don't even know what blacks have done in California because they've been whitewashed with Spanish conquistador history. They don't know what blacks done for California. They don't understand that half of the settlers and the founders of California was black. Mexicans don't even know that because most of them don't take the time to study history. That's that Spanish conquistador knowledge. When you were educated, listen, if you was educated by Spanish conquistadors, you're lost. Spanish conquistadors did everything in their power to erase black history, to erase our contributions, not only in Mexico, here in the United States of America, all across Latin America. The conquistadors did their best to erase the history of black folks and our contributions. That's why when you see Mexicans come to my comment section, what have blacks done? They're so foolish that they don't even realize that blacks are the reason that they have civil rights in this country. A lot of them are too ignorant to understand those facts when it comes to history. So they hop in my comment section talking crazy, not realizing that foundational black Americans are responsible for the civil rights that they have in this country. They're too ignorant to realize that. Why? Because they don't understand history.
He and other black settlers envisioned a self-sufficient town where African Americans could thrive, free from racism. Though drought and political sabotage eventually weakened the town, its legacy endures as a monument to the determination of black pioneers who refused to be erased. By the 20th century, as California became a land of Hollywood dreams and industrial might, the memory of its black settlers had been largely erased from textbooks and public monuments. School children learn of Spanish padres, gold prospectors, and railroad barons, but rarely of William Leidsdorf, Pio Pico, Biddy Mason, or the countless unnamed black farmers, laborers, and builders who laid the groundwork for the California we know today. The deliberate silence was part of a larger effort to present California as a white frontier paradise, ignoring the multiracial reality of its origins. Today, scholars, activists, and descendants of those settlers are working to recover these stories, placing plaques, restoring sites like Biddy Mason's homestead in Los Angeles, and teaching a fuller history in classrooms. Their work reminds us that history is not just what happened, it is also what has been remembered and what has been forgotten. The story of black settlers in California is not simply a footnote. It is a central strand in the fabric of the state's identity. To deny it is to accept a lie. To reclaim it is to see California as it truly is, a place built by hands of every color, forged by dreams of freedom, and enriched by communities who refused to vanish even when history tried to silence them. The story they hid for so long is finally resurfacing, and with it comes the truth. Without black settlers, there would be no California as we know it.
Now, that's deep right there. See, a lot of Mexicans don't know that. And some of these people are so much in denial that they'll turn around and say, no, that's not true. They'll come over here and tell me this is not true. Let's go to Ricardo.
North Carolina.
They'll come over here and say it's not true. They're just ignorant when it comes to history. They don't understand what blacks did in Mexico. Listen, Vincent Guerrero, the second president of Mexico, abolished slavery in Mexico. He helped Mexico to gain their independence from Spain. Vincent Guerrero was an Afro-Mexican. He was the second president. He was a Mexican of Afro descent. He was assassinated once he liberated Mexico from Spain. Once he liberated Mexico from Spain's rule. You know why they assassinated Vincent Guerrero? His name was El Negro. Well, his nickname was El Negro, but his government name was Vincent Guerrero. Now, when he abolished slavery, and he helped Mexico to gain their independence from Spain, they assassinated him right after he abolished slavery. Right after Mexico got liberated from Spain, they assassinated him. So what they did was they allowed Vincent Guerrero to do the groundwork. Do you know why they assassinated Vincent Guerrero? Because he was fighting for blacks in Mexico to have equality. He was fighting so that blacks in Mexico can be added to the census. Do you know that blacks in Mexico been there for centuries and they barely got added to the census in 2015? They barely got added to the Constitution in 2015, but they've been there for centuries. Vincent Guerrero seen that back in the 1800s. He's seen this going on in the 1800s. So when Vincent Guerrero began to fight for blacks and people of color in Mexico, dark-skinned, melanated people to have civil rights, fighting for them to be added to the Constitution, he was assassinated because he was fighting for the civil rights of blacks in Mexico. They assassinated him right after he abolished slavery. Now, that's something that a lot of people don't even know. They hid black history in Mexico. They are hiding black history here in the United States of America, erased the contributions of the blacks who built California, pretending like they never existed, erase them out of the damn history books. And you talk about being whitewashed. You talk about promoting systematic white supremacy, where you're going to sell your story instead of telling the real history. Now let's hear what this brother had to say right here. This is Ricardo. He's going to talk about how racist a lot of his people are and how they have a lot of anti-black racism. They're whitewashed. They believe white is better. They fought to be legally white in the 1930s. I'm not making this up.
It was a small little town in North Carolina that passed reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something out here in California. I think they already actually got a little board going that they're going to start looking into it.
That's when we, the Raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no. Nobody gave reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first. We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because it's not fair, dog. How are you going to give a bunch of money to a specific group?
Cállate, cabrón panzón. Let me translate what these three chingaderas were basically doing. White man, why are you giving those people over there your crumbs? We deserve your crumbs first. Can't you see that we are a better model minority? We kiss white ass all day. We seek proximity to whiteness. And just like you, white man, we're also racist against them blacks. Can't you see? We are more like you. So please, give us your crumbs first before you give it to them. Them people, they don't really like you. We do. We worship you. And that is what these three chingaderas were basically doing. And I want everybody, especially you Mexicans and Chicanos, Latinos, I want you to pay attention to this part. I want you to notice that Latinos, Mexican, Chicanos, whatever, like these, that always, and I mean 100% of the time, go out of their way to say, do, or take action against black people are never, and I mean ever, 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 going against any other race and or demographic of people. Not the Asians, not the Indians, not the Arabs, not the Europeans. They have no problem with any other demographic acquiring any form of benefit in this country. Do you guys remember Stop Asian Hate? It was a policy literally passed from one day to another when Asians were being harassed in this country for being Asian. And literally from one day to another, Asians, just like that, were granted a policy to stop Asian hate. Meaning, if any people went out of their way to hurt an Asian just for being Asian, it was a law that you were breaking that specifically protects Asians. In this country, you can't say anything about Jews, and I mean anything negative, because you're anti-Semitic to the point of you going to prison just for saying anything negative. And you don't see a single one of these Mexicans, Latinos, Chicanos, whatever. You don't see a single one of them have anything to say, any complaint about any other demographic of people acquiring any form of benefit and or protection from this system, from any form of discrimination against them. In other words, this is specifically anti-blackness. And we have to point this out because people like this will argue, oh, I've nothing against blacks. Some of my homies are black. Never mind your homies. Why is it that when you make an effort to go out of your way and have a desire against a demographic of people, it is only black people? And I'll prove my point even harder with this. The Latino vote for Trump was over 45%. Over 45. Some stats even say 60%. In other words, more or less, half of the Latino population voted for Trump. Even if it were 15%, that's still too much.
Woo! Now, I had to correct this guy in my chat room. He said, I sound like MAGA. I said, no. Way more Latinos voted for Donald Trump versus foundational black Americans. Foundational black Americans voted for Kamala Harris, and they ought to be embarrassed. But that's a whole nother story. But the majority of Latinos, listen, Latinos played a big role in why Donald Trump got elected. The overwhelming majority of foundational black Americans voted for Kamala Harris. They ought to be embarrassed for the way that they voted. Yeah. So if Latinos are going to be mad at anybody, they need to be mad at themselves and their own people, because a large percentage of them voted for Donald J. Trump, which means you voted for mass deportation.
But half? Anyway, I mentioned that because as soon as Donald Trump won and got into office, one of the first things he did is let's deport, or less, half of the Latino population voted for Trump. Even if it were 15%, that's still too much. But half? Anyway, I mentioned that because as soon as Donald Trump won and got into office, one of the first things he did is let's deport these goddamn spics. And all of a sudden, on the news, social media, everywhere, you see a bunch of people that look like this getting dragged the hell out of their vehicles and sent the hell out of here, legal or not. And what was the reaction of these Latinos that voted for this? Where all the black people at? So wait a minute. Why not? Where all the Asians at? Where all the Middle Easterns at? Where all the Europeans at? Where all them white folks that we kiss ass to so much? Why was the first thing to where it became a hashtag, where are all the black people at? And black people collectively said, also became a hashtag, we gonna sit this one out. And all of a sudden, Latinos, oh, what happened? I thought we had brown and black unity. Brown and black unity? First of all, you voted for this. That's number one. Number two, how is it that you want unity with a people whenever this system wants to grant a people any sort of benefit and or protection? You have no problem unless they're black. How does it hurt you if black people, specifically black Americans, gain reparations? How does it hurt you? Jews got reparations. I've yet to hear one Latino, Mexican, Chicano complain about that. And I bet you, both of my Kiwis, you will never hear a single Latino, Hispanic, Chicano, Mexican, whatever, complain about any form of benefit that this system grants Jews, Asians, etc. Donald Trump literally is targeting people that look like this to be identified as illegal. And somehow, some way, black people getting reparations is an obstacle to you. What happened to black people in this country? It is a struggle that happened in this country. What happened to Jews didn't happen here. Didn't happen in the Americas. It happened in Germany.
Right. You never heard Mexicans complaining about any other group in this country getting reparations besides black folks. Now, it shows you how much hatred they had for us. They didn't complain about no Asians getting no hate crime bill. Now, if black folks got a hate crime bill, the main people who would have been complaining would have been Mexicans. Black folks fight for reparations. Who was hating on our reparations? Mexicans. Oh, the raza needs to march. I'm talking heavy protests and tell them no. Nobody deserves reparations, so the Mexicans get ours first, they say. Right? That's what they said on the panel. Shout out to Ricardo for keeping it a stack. Shout out to Ricardo for keeping it 1 million in this thing, man. You heard what I'm saying, man? 1 million up in this thing, homie. Yeah. We talking about big facts. You chopping up game with the OG, your big homie, the one and only King Supreme. You ain't never heard Mexicans complaining about the fact that Asians and Jews got reparations. They only want to complain about, they're mad that blacks might get reparations. Oh, no, you better not give them black folks reparations. You can give the Asian reparations. You can give the natives. You can give the Jews reparations, but you better not give those blacks reparations. Them Mexicans had a whole lot to say about us getting our reparations, though. They ain't got a problem in the world with nobody else getting their piece of the pie. They only got a problem when it comes to us getting what we deserve. But guess what? These same Mexicans have civil rights based on what we fought for. And imagine, they're hating on us when we fought for things that benefits them, but they never fought for anything that benefits us.
But somehow, some way, this country must give them one Latino, Mexican, Chicano complain about that. And I bet you, both of my, how does it hurt you if black people, specifically black Americans, gain reparations? How does it hurt you? Jews got reparations. I've yet to hear one Latino, Mexican, Chicano complain about that. And I bet you, both of my Kiwis, you will never hear a single Latino, Hispanic, Chicano, Mexican, whatever, complain about any form of benefit that this system grants Jews, Asians, etc. Donald Trump literally is targeting people that look like this to be identified as illegal. And somehow, some way, black people getting reparations is an obstacle to you. What happened to black people in this country? It is a struggle that happened in this country. What happened to Jews didn't happen here, didn't happen in the Americas. It happened in Germany. But somehow, some way, this country must give them reparations and nobody has a problem. This country overly protects them and nobody has a problem. I don't have a problem with it either. But I'm saying the people who were forced through slavery in this country were violently discriminated against systemically for hundreds of years to this day. Just because you're black, by default, you're a criminal. You're up to no good. Those are the long-lasting effects of demonizing an entire race of people. And they don't deserve reparations? But another people that were put through horrible things in another continent do? And you Mexicans, you Chicanos, Latinos, you have a problem with black people getting reparations? To the point where you feel it's important to do a whole podcast about it? This is what you want the world, our raza, to be educated on? We must go out there and protest against black people getting reparations? This is your message? We have Latinos for Trump. We have ICE dragging us out of this country, and most of those ICE agents look like this. Little children.
Most of your ICE agents are Mexicans. I will vote for Donald Trump. 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 Yes, yes, Donald Trump.
There and protest against black people getting reparations. This is your message? We have Latinos for Trump. We have ICE dragging us out of this country, and most of those ICE agents look like this. Little children in detention center, concentration camps. Who knows what they're doing to them in them? But your problem is black people getting reparations? This is why I encourage black people to continue to sit this one out. Why I continue to tell black people it is to your detriment to even waste your time with this brown and black coalition. I never thought I'd see the day, I swear to God, where I would see Chicano, Mexican, Latino podcasters make an episode about encouraging raza to go protest against black people getting reparations. I never thought I'd see the day, but I'm not surprised. Because I recognize, and I've talked about this for years now, I've identified, I'm familiar with the anti-blackness in the Latino community, or lack thereof. And for the Mexicans, Chicanas, Latinos that are gonna come to the comment section, Ricardo, wait, not all of us. Well, if not all of you, say something, do something, shut this kind of shit down. Because otherwise, we are a collective of people. And when a large percentage of people that look like us, that are Latinos, Mexicans, Chicanos, whatever, are doing shit like this, meanwhile, the few of us that don't think like this, rather, shh, then don't get mad if this becomes our reputation and our image. We are a bunch of anti-black, racist Latinos. So racist that we hate ourselves. We voted against our best interest. So if you are not going to stand up against shit like this and use your platforms to address this bullshit instead of using your platforms to take selfies all the time, then don't complain if this becomes our reputation.
Bingo.
That's where we are in 2020.
You can't complain when this becomes your reputation, when a large percentage of your people promote anti-blackness. Mexicans and Latinos ain't never had a problem with Jews getting reparations. Ain't never had a problem with any other group receiving reparations. They only got a problem with blacks getting reparations. What did Sonny say? The raza, the Mexican community, needs to march in every protest and tell them no. When it comes to blacks getting reparations, it said tell them no. Tell them no. The raza needs to march. I'm talking heavy protests against blacks getting reparations in this country, it said. Right? That's exactly what they said. We heard it loud and clear.
We voted against our best interest. So if you are not going to stand up against shit like this and use your platforms to address this bullshit instead of using your platforms to take selfies all the time, then don't complain if this becomes our reputation. That's where we are in 2026. Latinos, Mexicans, Chicanos, they hate black people. Even if you, as an individual, don't, that's our reputation. That's our image. You don't like it? Do something about it. Speak up against shit like this.
He cooked right there. I would like to give a standing ovation for Ricardo because Ricardo did his thing with that one, man. Oh my God, but Ricardo represents a small mind. Let me listen to the homeboy Dennis Sperling, man.
You got Mexicans talking about they want reparations.
Now,
you got Africa.
This is the homie Dennis Sperling, man. Shout out to my LA brother, Dennis Sperling. He's living in Texas, but shout out to my brother, man. He gonna break some of this stuff down to the very last compound. You dig what I'm saying? It is what it is. Realer than rap, no cap, delivering the hard-hitting facts. Gang delivered by King Supreme in a major way.
You got Mexicans talking about they want reparations. You got Africans who say talk about they want reparations. You got Mexicans talking about they want reparations. You got Africans who say, well, we were victims of, had to deal with racism in America for the past 25 years. So they want reparations. There's no line jumping. There's no symbolic affiliation. No broad racial categorization. No space for outsiders, black or white, to try to hijack this claim. So when critics say, why don't you sue the United States instead? Isn't that what you say? The answer is simple. You're free to do that. You are free to sue the United States. These 800,000 people are free to do it also. In addition to this strategy, exercising one legal option does not cancel another. If you all manage to sue the federal government, this is not going to get in the way of that. See, federal law doesn't require ideological uniformity. See, what is not acceptable is people with no legal stake, no qualifying ancestry, and no standing attempting to veto a claim that does not belong to them. This is no different than immigrant groups complaining about Black Americans' claims for reparation arising from injuries that predate their arrival. You were not harmed by this conduct. You did not lose your land. You don't inherit this claim. You have no dog in this hunt. Again, let me be clear about the scale. Even though the total model exposure approaches $1.6 trillion, no one is pretending the courts are going to just write a check. What matters is leverage, 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 leverage. Because see, the leverage scales even when recovery doesn't. If these cases resolve at 10 to 25% of the model value, that's not symbolic. That is justice, but it's also structural change. It's land access. It's citizenship pathways. You don't have to wait that long line to become a citizen of Nigeria, Togo, Benin, or Congo. You don't have to wait to become a citizen before you can own land. It's yours. And this is what matters. And this is why it's happening now. And this is why opinions from people with no standing are beside the point. This is not a vote. It's a legal claim. And the people who qualify will decide how they want to use it. Now, let me get another clarification together. Most people don't qualify. Okay? You don't. See, returns and reparation and repatriation and restitution, they're not a reward system for identity alone just because you're black. You get to go back. This requires discipline. It requires intent. It requires capacity and clarity. Africa is not a fantasy destination. It's not a protest slogan or a place to escape personal dysfunction. African nations and the people in these African countries, they already are facing serious economic and political and social challenges. The last thing they need is somebody who has entitled access, but is coming over there unprepared, unresponsible, and without purpose. So what this does is naturally create a separation process. For those who can trace their lineage, for those who meet the evidentiary standards and demonstrate seriousness about contributing to long-term national building, they have options. And those who can't, you can't meet the standard, or you don't want to, you're going to remain exactly where you are, and that's your choice. See, many of the loudest critics are not actually opposed to Africa. They're opposed to leaving the comfort zone. They talk about that return to the motherland. They talk about Pan-Africanism. They talk about solidarity, but they never take the steps to require sacrifice. The rhetoric is easy.
I'm going to be real with you. The white man ain't giving you nothing, man. They're not going to give you nothing. Black folks, we got to give ourselves reparations and take power. Power is not given, power is taken. How did the white man control his land? How did he dominate this land? He did it through force. He did it through violence. He didn't do it through protesting and asking someone to give him something. The white man took the power that he wanted. Now he's fighting to maintain systematic white supremacy. Let me tell you something. Why would white people make America equal to you? Their main objective and goal is to reign supreme. They're not going to make America equal. They're not going to make you equal to them in America. That was never their plan. They're not going to give you equality in this country. You must take power. No one's going to give it to you. It's simple as that. Giving you the hard-hitting facts. White people didn't dominate America. They didn't conquer America by being nice, by being thoughtful, by giving everybody equality. That's not how white folks dominated this country. It don't work like that. Why would white people give up power to make you equal to them? It's never going to happen. You got to find a way to overthrow that system. Their main goal is to maintain white supremacy in this country. They established white supremacy, and now they want to maintain their dominance and white supremacy in this country. And can you blame them? No, you can't. Why? Because no one gives up power. Nobody gives away power to make you equal to them. That is not how it works. It don't work like that. Power is taken. It is not a given. Oh, let me say it again. Like your pastor preaching on Sunday morning service. Don't you get nervous? Power is taken. It is not a given. The white man ain't gonna give you nothing. You think the white man fought so hard? The white man fought so hard in this country to establish white supremacy. Why would he make the playing field equal to you or for you, so that you can feel better? If I was a white man, I will continue to maintain a system of white supremacy. Why? Because white supremacy benefits me and my people. I'm not going to put black folks on an equal playing field to me. That's not how it works. Power is taken. It is not a given. It is not given to you. They're not going to give you reparations. Black folks got to find a way to overthrow the system if you want reparations. The white man ain't giving you nothing.
Move about that return to the motherland. They talk about Pan-Africanism. They talk about solidarity, but they never take the steps to require sacrifice. The rhetoric is easy. Movement is not. And history shows us the separation isn't often general. It's often a general, generational. You understand? Even biblical narratives, when you look at the Bible, you can't drag everybody forward simultaneously. It happens when those prepared to move do so and take responsibility for what comes next. I'm not trying to force anybody to go anywhere. It's about restoring options that were violently and forcefully taken away from us as a people. This thing makes people uncomfortable.
Let's see what Tariq Nasheed had to say about this. We're going to go to the next clip. Nah, man, white folks ain't finna give you no power. They're not finna make the playing field equal for you. Power is not given. Power is something that you must take. You must dominate. You must take it. No one's going to give it to you. The white man ain't going to give you a damn thing. They're going to fight so hard to not give you. Listen, homie, white people fought to keep you in bondage and in slavery for 4 centuries. Why would they turn around and put you on an equal playing field to them? That is not how white supremacy works. They fought all these centuries, all these years to maintain their dominance. They're not going to turn around and put you on an equal playing field. That is not how it works. It's not going to happen. You better be ready to take power.
Delineating, and we're letting everybody know, hey, you know, we're looking out for this group. Looking out for a rally. Okay, well, my mods, who is this person talking about? We don't like light-skinned people. What do you think? And it's a doozy. This film is going to be phenomenal, family. You guys
hit the like button if you haven't. That's the American Maroon. Tariq Nasheed spoke on Mexicans asking about reparations. Should Mexicans get reparations?
Posting on that because we do need another rallies for reparations. We had.
Nah, man, if I was a white man, I wouldn't give Negroes nothing. If I fought to maintain white supremacy, why would I then turn around and put you on an equal playing field as me? That is not how it works. Power is taken. It is not a given. It is not given to you. You must find a way to overthrow the system. You must find a way to dominate. Then once you dominate, then you must maintain the system that you fought so hard to build. White supremacy works in the favor of white people. So no, hell no, they will never give up power willingly. That is not how it works. Why would I fight so hard to maintain white supremacy in this country? Because it benefits my people. Then years later, I'm going to turn around and put the black folks on the equal playing field as us. It'll never happen. We got to find a way to overthrow that system. They're not going to give your black ass a damn thing. They ain't gave you reparations in 400-500 years. Why would they turn around and give it to your black ass now? Hell no, I wouldn't give black folks a damn dime if I was a white man. If I was a white man, I will fight to maintain systematic white supremacy because it benefits my people in this country. I ain't going to turn around and put black folks on an equal playing field. Why would I turn around and give black folks power? Black folks better find a way to take power and then maintain the power. It is not a given.
The rally for reparations a couple of years ago out there in DC, it was phenomenal. We packed it out. It was on and popping, changed the game. We need to go back embedded into the collective psyche of the nation. All right? So that's what it is. Oh, yeah, by the way, get the book Hidden Heroes from A to Z right here. All right? So you can see the way from the reparations conversation, but that's not working. They see that foundational Black Americans from the grassroots are stomping hard for reparations. We're letting the dominant society know. All right, somebody asked the question. I'm going to answer that, Master T. They see that we haven't let up on those reparations, that we're laser focused on reparations. Somebody in the chat room asked a question, and this question has popped up. Do the Anglo-Liberians get reparations? No. No. Do the Americo-Liberians? No. No. See, people keep trying to find ways to remix reparations. The Amerigo-Liberians, no. They do not get reparations. No. Because number one, it's such a small number of them. And then they bounced. They bounced. Oh, I'll get on rolling in a second. I'll get on rolling in a second, guys. I'll get on rolling in a second. But the Americo-Liberians, no. Let's be clear. Over the Black people who went to Liberia in the 1800s, the free Black people in America, it was a very small number of them. Also, they mixed in with the Black.
Immigrants are not a threat like foundational Black Americans are. So you got to think, when we talking about tethers, Black immigrants represent maybe 2% of the population in this country. Right? So they're not going to overpopulate us. They can't dominate our communities. But the Latinos, who we share a border with, they can come over here illegally by the millions and replace you in many cities and many communities across the country just based on their proximity to the border. Right? They could come right over by the millions. And they could dump anchor babies for birthright citizenship. The white man ain't going to never let Africans or Black folks come over here by the millions. They're not going to allow that, right? If they put Planned Parenthood and abortion clinics in our community, drugs and liquor stores and all that, they did all that to decrease our population. Why would they then turn around and allow millions of Africans to immigrate here and become citizens? That would only boost the Black population in this country, and that is the white man's biggest fear, that the Black population will one day surpass them. That is the white man's biggest fear, that Blacks one day will overpopulate them in this country. That's why they put Planned Parenthood in your communities. This is why they told Black women to abort their babies. The Black man don't make enough money. He ain't worthy. You need to get rid of that baby girl and make your life better. So the government convinced Black women that getting rid of their babies was the best thing to do, because the Black man, he's uneducated. He ain't got a job. He ain't going to provide for you. He going to leave you with these children. You're better off just aborting that damn baby in the first place. That is what white feminists convinced Black women to do. Oh, for sure, for sure.
Caribbeans who went over there, and it was other Black people from other tribes going on over there. So Black Americans went over there, and I'm going to just say the Black people in the Western Hemisphere, about 15,000 of them went over there, and half of them died off. And then some more came back. All right? So only a very small handful stayed over there in Liberia. Not too many of us stayed over there in Liberia. The FBA population in Liberia at that time in the 1800s was 5% of the population there. Yeah? Yeah, they're trying to act like there was a massive exodus of us going to some damn Liberia, and it wasn't. It wasn't a big exodus. Most of us were like, no, not going over to no damn Liberia. We know that's a trick bag. We ain't from over there. Yeah, that was a con game. And
if I was the white man, I wouldn't give Black folks nothing. Zero. Their main goal is to maintain systematic white supremacy. Why would they then turn around and give you money because you feel like you're old? No, 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 that ain't how it go. White folks ain't finna give you nothing, black folks. Why would they when they don't have to? I kept you enslaved for 400 years for a reason, to keep you as an underclass. Not because one day I want you to overpopulate me so that you can overthrow the system of white supremacy. Oh no, that ain't how it works in this country, baby. You must find a way to overthrow systematic white supremacy. White folks ain't gonna give you a damn thing, not a damn dime. Foundational black Americans must find a way to overthrow the system of white supremacy. White folks ain't gonna give you nothing. If they ain't gave you reparations in 400 years, why would they turn around and give it to your black ass now? You must overthrow the system of white supremacy. They ain't gonna give you nothing. You take power. Nobody gives power. Nobody gives power to other groups. You must find a way to overthrow the system to gain power. Then after you gain power, you must find ways to maintain the power that you fought so hard for. The objective is this: you want to obtain power, and then once you obtain power, now you got to find a way to maintain that power. It is called maintenance. It is called hard work, dedication. Respect to the foundational black Americans who've been fighting hard. But I got to be honest with my people. White folks ain't going to give you nothing. White people do not, listen, they're not going to empower black people by giving you something. You might say, well, it ain't giving it to us. We're old. It don't matter. That's not how it works. How did the Haitians get rid of the Frenchmen? Did they ask the Frenchmen to leave? No, they had to take power. Now, they still ended up in poverty later, but the point is they had to mount up, get on coal, and run the Frenchmen, the enslavers, the colonizers off of the island. The Haitians had to use violence and extreme force to run the colonizers off of their island, to run the colonizers off of that land. The Haitians had to take power. Nobody ever gave it to them. Now, eventually, the Haitians ended up in poverty later. They suffered from the things that they did. But the point is this: they were successful at running the Frenchmen off of that island with that slave revolt. So they took power. Nobody ever gave it to them. It's the same thing we got to do here in the United States of America.
People like William Nesbitt and folks like that went over there and they wrote down what was really going on. They were like, this is some bullshit. They were like, hell, we live better on the plantations in the slave quarters better than this. They kept it a buck. Yeah? So no, they're not getting any reparations.
Shout out to Jamar for the Cash App. Shout out to Desmond Hill for the Cash App. Shout out to the homegirl Della for the Cash App. Shout out to the homegirl Marcy for the Cash App. I appreciate all of my contributors and supporters. First things first, it gets much worse.
And now that we're talking about reparations and we're delineating and we're letting everybody know, hey, you know, we're looking out for this group. We're looking out for politically, because we've done everything.
Well, there's many more ways to fight besides using violence, but some situations, for some situations, violence is necessary. Now, in some situations, violence is not necessary, but it just depends on the situation. Every situation is different. It is not the same. You might have to use violence in certain situations to gain and to maintain power and your freedom. Now, some situations, it might require a little bit of brain power, uniting the people, educating the people, teaching them the history so that they don't repeat the history that affected us, so that they don't repeat the history that set us back 200 to 300 years. So we don't want history to repeat itself. This is why it's so important that we educate our people about the history, about what went on in the past, so that we don't repeat that in the future. Right? I don't mean to mute you, but I got diamonds bigger than your future. I don't mean to mute you, but I got rims bigger than your damn future. You heard? But no, homie, we got to find a way to overthrow the system, whether we do it intellectually, whether we have to do it through violence. Sometimes it will boil down to violence. How did the white man establish this country? How did the white man conquer and dominate this country? He did it through violence, along with some brain power, because it wasn't just violence. They put a lot of laws in place, so they use some intelligence, but at the same time, they used a whole lot of damn violence at the same time to establish the rules and the laws in this country. The white man didn't dominate America. He didn't conquer America by being nice. He didn't conquer America by trying to put everybody on an equal playing field. That's not how the white man establishes dominance. Absolutely not. You better learn. You're going to learn something today.
Everything for all these other groups. We're focusing on us now when people, again, are crying foul because we're looking out for ourselves. Yeah? We're looking out for ourselves. But here's the thing. Now that we're talking about reparations, now that we're saying, hey, we need to get something tangible, folks are trying to crowbar themselves into the conversation heavy. Folks are really desperately trying to crowbar themselves into the conversation. Somebody mentioned Roland. Roland was on his show. They were doing the whole shaming tactic, trying to shame foundational Black Americans. I'm going to play a clip of that. I knew, we told y'all that was coming because they don't have any other playbook. The DNC has told their minions, y'all need to get out there and, talk to them like they're children, talk at them, tell them why they should vote. They get all their talking points handed down from a central source. I'm on a curse out spree. You know how it is. All right? That means that's a canned talking point from a Democratic shit. Oh man, where's that clip? My grandpa, my Haiti. Can somebody find that real quick? I want to play it. Oh man. Okay, where he's cursing us out. Others in these positions, and look at us. We ain't got nothing. Yeah, we got a vice president who's half a Caribbean or whatever. How has that worked for us? None of that works for us.
Shout out to Pretty Boy for the Cash App. I appreciate you, Pretty Boy, for the Cash App, man.
What are y'all talking? That don't mean anything. None of that works for us. That's why we're saying, hey, enough is enough. None of that's working for us. Let me play the rest of this. Boy, that's not a flex at all. They're going to try we need the numbers game. No, we need to cut some of these numbers off. We got a bunch of dead weight out here. They're not, see what they're trying to do, the old Democratic trick, there's power in numbers. You get more Black people, a lot of them immigrants is Black. These are the main ones undermining us. Minnesota, who's beating up on the FBA kids, who's trying to beat up the FBA, those ones in Minnesota, remember? Minnesota, those are the main ones hating. I don't. Nobody in my family is an immigrant. None. I'm full FBA from both sides of my family. So I don't have an allegiance to no other group or no other nation or nothing. My first allegiance is for foundational Black Americans. Now, I look at people who are Black from other nations as our distant relatives, but just like a family, I'm going to take care of the nuclear family first and then say, hey, let me make sure the brothers and sisters and my cousins and third cousins, I'm going to make sure they're good. But the nuclear family is going to be good first. All right? I'll try to play a little more. There's only so much of his horse crap I can take. Many of them are weak links. Because they were weak links in their homeland.
Here's the bottom line. They don't think you deserve
that stuff have you hopping on cruise ships. Them cruise ships are hotbeds for a lot of sexual assault. They done got them from somewhere, and then they get you out, and then they might try something. So you got to watch them. Yeah. So the thing is, we're on our own. It's foundational Black Americans, them trying to use the selling point of us latching on and getting these weak links that's not really down. That's not going to work. And now that we're talking about reparations,
robbed us of our dance.
Oh, I use this right here too. I didn't even know Tyree used this clip right here. Check it out.
They should get reparations first. We talking about reparations. Our businesses are anti-reparationists. When we had the march for reparations, the rally for reparations, we were being vandalized at the same time by some of these anti-reparationist Latinos. You understand? We were being targeted by them. Now, I want to play this clip. This Mexican dude was talking about how they should get reparations first. We talking about reparations. They should get reparations. Now listen to this. Hold on.
I do not consider this the United States, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. This is our land. We did not cross no borders. This was promised to us.
Right.
This is our land. So by reparations, we need our land back. You can go now. You know, so if anybody's going to speak up about that, though, that would be a big part of our reparations, not just money, give us money, and then what are you going to do? Spend it, and then what are you going to have left? That was part of their agreement when they made all these agreements with indigenous tribes as well as the North American Indians, which aren't separate from us. They're the same. They said
No, they're not, because the non-speaking natives in Mexico are treated horribly. They're discriminated against.
They're the same. They said they offered them money, minuscule amounts of money for their land, and they were conned into doing these things, bro. And they turned us against each other. They made us worship all their shit. They cut us. Like I said, they used to cut off our piochlis, our warrior braids. They put us into their indoctrinational system of teaching us these things that we're going to consume our spirit and consume our lives, bro. Such as our dietary law that they told us milk is good for your body.
What is he talking about?
And all this, and you got to learn this, and you have to learn our language. You got to learn Spanish. You got to worship these idols. You have to do this. And they robbed us of our prayer. They robbed us of our dance. They robbed us of our history. They robbed us of our complexion, of everything, bro. You know, so reparations should come with speaking about getting our land back.
Okay. So yeah, they're using the term reparation. What reparations you gonna get? If you're gonna get some reparations, you need to holler at Spain, which is what y'all not gonna do. No. See, they're trying to use our term. What reparations from who? And I guess he's talking about the United States. He don't look at it as United States. Okay, no. First of all, if you want some compensation, y'all holler at Spain. So you know that ain't gonna happen because y'all don't have our numbers. The only reason they're using the word reparations is because we're stumping for that. We're that energy on the streets. Also, Mexico got reparations from the United States, from our tax dollars, from our enslaved labor. Mexico got reparations already from the United States with the Treaty of Hidalgo. The Treaty of Hidalgo, what's that, 1848? They got their reparations. When Mexico was fighting the United States, Mexico lost. The United States, in exchange for New Spain, which was Mexico, New Spain ceding certain parts of the United States, like California, New Mexico, certain states, certain territories that would become states. They actually got money from the United States. They got a big ass check from the United States at the time. They got $15 million. That was your reparations. Mexico got reparations. They got $15 million back then. They got paid. Dude, $15 million in 1848? You know, that's around $400, $500 million. Y'all got damn near $500 million. You got broke. Your government was broken off. Now, if you tricked the money off, that's on you. You can't do a crackhead spin where You get some money, smoke it up, and you didn't do shit with it, and then come back, hey, I want my VCR back. No, you done sold your VCR for a hit, and then you done tricked the money off, and you want to come back for your... No, you smoked that up already. You smoked up that...
God damn it, I smoked the TV. Like that like a rub did that skit, like, yeah, man. Like a crackhead sell you his TV. You give him the crack for the TV. He come back 5 days later, say, man, I want my TV back. Hell no, I gave you crack. I gave you money for that damn TV. You ain't getting nothing back. You done smoked it up and tricked off all the damn money. Now you're talking about you want your damn TV back. Man, please, you better go somewhere. You done smoked it up. Now you want it back.
With the Treaty of Hidalgo. The Treaty of Hidalgo, what's that, 1848? They got their reparations. When Mexico was fighting the United States, and Mexico lost, the United States, in exchange for New Spain, which was Mexico, New Spain ceding certain parts of the United States, like California, when I say New Mexico, certain states, certain territories that would become states. They actually got money from the United States. They got a big ass check from the United States at the time. They got $15 million. That was your reparations. Mexico got reparations. They got $15 million back then. They got paid. Dude, $15 million in 1848, you know, that's around $400-500 million. Y'all got damn near $500 million. You got broke. Your government was broken off. Now, if you tricked the money off, that's on you. You can't do a crackhead spin where you get some money, smoke it up, and you didn't do shit with it, and then come back, hey, I want my VCR back. No, you done sold your VCR for a hit, and then you done tricked the money off, and you want to come back for your... No, you smoked that up already. You smoked up that $500 million. Don't come back talking about this our land. No, it ain't. You got paid. No, it ain't your land. You got that. Y'all made a deal. Y'all didn't do anything with the damn money. Your ass got paid. But this is our land. No, this is my VCR. No, you done smoked your VCR. No, you done smoked it up. We can't help because you smoked it up. Give me a break. No, it don't work like that. You spent it on some bullshit. You didn't build it up like you're supposed to. France got the same thing. The Louisiana Purchase, Napoleon and them dudes, they got $15 million too. After the Haitian Revolution and Dessalines was whooping that ass, Napoleon was like, hey, I gotta, I lost my island money because Haiti was a big money maker for France. Dessalines cut that off. So they said, hey, we need money, so we're gonna sell the Louisiana territory. The U.S. said, all right, bet. U.S., we gave them $15 million. Same thing, equivalent of $500 million in today's money. So France, all right, France got that money, flipped it. They didn't smoke it up. They went and got them another bag, got them another kilo, and kept flipping and kept flipping. They flipped their bag. Mexico smoked theirs. Big difference. So you can't come around talking about, hey, you got my TV? Where my TV at? That I sold you for this? No. We can't help because you smoked it up. My land. No. You got broke off already. Napoleon got that money, and then he started taxing the French people, and then he started stealing more shit from other. Let me just steal from European nations. Them niggas over there whooping my ass. Let me go smack around some Italians or somebody. Shit. Those niggas over there are something else. So at least Napoleon, he got his flip game.
God damn it, you smoked the TV. You didn't smoke the VCR. Now you come back 2 weeks later after you done snorted all the crack and smoked all the crack, talking about you want your TV and VCR back. Man, please, you better go somewhere before I get upset. You better bounce.
Together when he went back to France. Mexico smoked theirs. Big difference. So you can't come around talking about, hey, that you got my TV? Where my TV at? That I sold you for this? No. We can't help because you smoked it up. My land. No. You got broke off already. Napoleon got that money, and then he started taxing the French people, and then he started stealing more shit from other. Let me just steal from European nations. Them niggas over there whooping my ass. Let me go smack around some Italians or somebody. Shit, and those niggas over there are something else. So at least Napoleon. He got his flip game together when he went back to France. Yeah? My land. Yeah, break. Yeah. France went over there. Let me go to Angola. Let me go back to. Let's go to Senegal. Let's just go with them niggas over there. We'll deal with the Senegalese. We'll deal with them. Let's go colonize some African nations. Shit. In the Western Hemisphere, all y'all can kiss my ass. Oui. Speaking of France, did you guys see some ladies went over there to the Louvre? There was some women that went over there to the Louvre Museum, and there was some kind of environmentalist or something, and they threw some paint on the Mona Lisa over there. Hold on, let me play that. That's interesting.
Hey, Vato, I want my land back. It said, nah, Holmes, it don't work like that, Holmes. You sold the product, it said. You got it, Holmes. You smoked it. You can't come back later and say that this is my land, Holmes. No, it don't work like that, Vato. You sold it. We built it up. We turned it into something. Now you want to talk about, I want my land back. Man, there's plenty of land in Mexico. It ain't no shortage of land in Mexico. What are they telling you? They want California and Texas because we built it up. Now that we turned it into something, hey, Vato, I want my land back, Holmes. Like, man, if you don't get your ass up out of here, boy, I'm telling you, you better go somewhere. You better go now. Look here, boy, better go now. You better go somewhere.
These activists, they went over there in the Louvre and threw some paint on the damn Mona Lisa. Hold on. Look at this. This was over at the Louvre. And hold on. Let me play this real quick.
Man.
Okay, that wasn't paint. That was soup, actually. My bad. It wasn't paint. That was soup.
All right, let's go to the let's go to talking about it said we want our land back, Vato. America owes us reparations, Holmes. The hell we don't. You ain't know the damn thing. If anything, Mexico needs to ask Spain for reparations because Spain conquered your land. Spain stripped you of your culture. Spain stripped you of your language. So if Mexicans want reparations, they better go to Mexico and demand reparations from Spain, not the United States of America. Absolutely not. Hey, Holmes.
Question everything, for the truth should not be telling. And that's Joe. So with that, you know, you got an advocate for Los Angeles Latino Hispanic community for reparations called, I think her name is Carrillo. Thanks to Undisputed, you know, on YouTube for putting this narrative out. But at the end of the day, think about it. Here it is. Aboriginal Negroes of America are pushing for reparations. Ain't nobody helping us get justice for the crimes against humanity that has been done to our people. That everybody, all y'all know what happened. All y'all from the
Spain stripped, listen, homie, Spain stripped Mexico of their language, their culture, and land. So if anybody owes Mexicans reparations, it would be Spain. The United States of America gave you money for the land that they got. You got reparations for that already. California was Mexico for 27 years. From 1821 to 1848, Cali was Mexico. So it was only Mexico for 27 years. Texas was Mexico from 1821, I think, to like 1836 or 1837. So you only own Texas for 16 years. You only own California for 27 years. That was short-lived. It's not your land. Get over it. There's no shortage of land in Mexico. If you want Mexico to be great, why don't you go to Mexico and build Mexico? There's tons of land in Mexico that you could build. There's no shortage of land over there. Spain is the ones who stripped Mexico of their language, culture, and way of living. So if anybody owes you reparations, it is Spain. But guess what? You got to go to Mexico and demand reparations in Mexico from Spain. It don't work like that in America. We ain't got nothing to do with that. We have nothing to do with that in the United States of America. Tell Spain that you're owed. You lost the war against America and you sold your land. You got defeated. Now live with it. You don't get nothing. This is not your land. Absolutely not.
The KKK lynchings, to the white militias, to the white riots of destroying our communities, to redlining us from banks and being able to get loans under economic oppression, to white and black water where we can get chased down and deleted off the planet for drinking out of a white water fountain, to chased out of restaurants for coming in knowing that it's a white only restaurant or white only movie theater, you name it. You know, to sundown towns where we go into town, we stay in the town till the sun go down, then they can come out and the whole town can come chase you down. That means everybody, all flocks of life. And
I need everybody that's watching to bless that like button. If you watching, make sure that you bless that damn like button. Make sure that you bless that like button now. You are committing a crime and you ain't blessed that damn like button for this foundational Black American FBA content. We going hard in the paint, doing what most can't.
Delete you off the planet. All y'all know our plight. It goes all you see, and this is not even slavery. This is the aftermath after slavery or before slavery. We don't talk about that either. All the different things we had to go through as the Aboriginal Negroes that got declassified out of their identity, mentally wiped clean when it comes to where they're from and the land that we actually are on, being our own land. All these different things that have been done to us. All y'all know about it. But here it is, Miss Carrillo and the Latinos are piggybacking off of our plight when it comes to us trying to get reparations for ourselves, and out of nowhere, the Hispanics need reparations in Los Angeles for the Dodge Stadium taking land from them back in the day, they say in the 1950s. Do you see how this game play? Do you see how every time Aboriginal Negroes stand up and been standing up against a system that colonizers came to the country and built on the backs of our people, they come and take from our plight to add to their plight and then go on a coalition to get things done for them, but nothing happening for us? Do you see how that works? Everything we march for, everything that we protest for, everything that we boycott for, everything that we was whooped, beat, and all sorts of atrocities that happened to us to get some of this white supremacy, system off our back, they come to the country and then act like they go through the same thing. And notice the words act, because they came to the country willingly. We was already in the country, and others, and they say 92,000 of us was brought, from Africa. You go look that up yourself. Even Dan Calloway on YouTube tell you how many actual people came to the United, actually to Americas, because we was already here. And that's the other American history that they won't even teach you or tell you about in school. You got to go research this stuff for yourself. But I digress, because at the end of the day, it's like you don't hear Carrillo and them talking about any other nation of people when they use the word reparations. And like, Professor Black Truth said, this ain't even about reparations. This is about real estate and realtor problems when it comes to what they've been through. We've been through it all. Remember Queen Khalifa of California? Go look her up. What about all her people? They didn't get reparations. That ties into our bloodline. But see, this is the game that they play. And then our people get on stage and they say, oh, the black and brown community, the black and brown community. But the brown community don't give a god dog and crap about you. They're not speaking on your plight. Because if everybody was speaking on our plight and helping us, then we wouldn't be in the position we in. No, everybody want that bag for self. And notice that the Latinos in Los Angeles, they ain't talking about studying the reparations. They ain't talking about giving them a library or reforming the prison departments, like that's where you want to go, or reforming the police department. They're talking about money and land. That's what the Latinos talking about. Money and land. You need the land in order to put your people on it, and then you need the money in order to mechanize your land, to develop it. That's the reality to it. It's a package deal. No different from all the rest of the reparations that been given out. But for you and I, the Aboriginals, oh yeah, we get trash. We get the trash bag reparations. They gotta study it, and then they gotta give you we'll give you some more highway signs and some street signs, and we'll put a light post out there that blinks Obama. You know what I mean? This is what we get. Stuff like that. We'll give you a better book in school. Because your books are raggedy. They treat us like trash, man. And like inferior people.
Shout out to this brother right here for breaking this down to the very last compound. It is what it is. Realer than rap, no cap, delivering the hard-hitting facts. Game delivered by King Supreme in a major way. Let's get back to the content, baby. We are cooking this morning. Saturday morning service. Don't you get nervous. Tap in for some of this game. It's beautiful, man. Oh, it's beautiful.
And unintelligent people. That's how they treat us. You know, like you would treat somebody if they was your property. That's how we get treated. All this voting, but we can't get no type of tangibles. We're owed for crimes against humanity, and we're not holding them to this from nowhere. A country that mass incarcerate our people says they about justice, but that they won't give us justice. Then how is they about justice? But see, here it is, you got the Latinos out there piggybacking off of us once again to get reparations in Los Angeles for Latinos for the Dodge Stadium taking their so-called taking their land. But what about us? We lost all our land. We lost all our land. And we lost a lot of brothers and sisters and children and babies. Black babies for gator bait. You can go look that up. The atrocities that we have been through and still going through. The way we treated after what we've been through, you would think, what kind of reality are we living? It's a nightmare. Just because we can smile and we can dance and we can laugh, that's just our spirit. Got nothing to do with the fact that it's a nightmare.
Mexicans need to demand reparations from Spain. Spain conquered you. They enslaved you. They stripped you of your language. They stripped you of your culture. They stripped you of your way of living. So if Mexicans are owed reparations, they are owed reparations in Spain. Now, American-born Mexicans can't complain about that. You guys are born in America. You reap the benefits for what goes on in America. Mexicans from Mexico are the ones who need to demand reparations from Spain. You get nothing from the United States of America, man. Zero. Nothing. You get nothing in the United States of America. You sold your land. You got defeated in war and you sold your land. You don't get nothing in return for that. You are delusional. You sound crazy. There's tons of land in Mexico. Like I said, there's no shortage of land in Mexico. There's tons of land there. Go to Mexico and make Mexico a better place. There's tons of land that you could use to build. So if you love Mexico so much, why don't you live there and make Mexico a better place? The United States of America don't owe you a damn thing, not a damn penny. We don't owe you a penny in Mexican money in the United States of America. Absolutely not.
It's still all around us. Because it's the reality. You would think after all the stuff that a system has done to us and the colonizers done to us, that they would treat us better. That things would be a little more honorable and just and righteous in the sense of how they would treat us and see us and promote us. But they don't. They demonize us. They push negativity to our communities. They push this culture that's
Shout out to Afro Nat for blessing us with a beautiful Cash App. Afro Nat, I appreciate you for supporting us with that Cash App. My brother Afro Nat in the building like always. Spitting game in the hallways like always. Salute to the game as you play it by the Kings of Ring. We gonna slide on through in a major way, baby. What is happening? Let's get it cracking. Shout out to Danny Valencia for blessing us with a beautiful Cash App as well. Realer than rap, no baseball cap. King Supreme delivering the hardcore facts in the game. It is what it is, baby. Yeah.
destructive to our communities. And then turn around and capitalize off it by mass incarcerating us for being impoverished in a system that won't give us reparations, resources, economic growth. Thus, living impoverished, trying to survive. We all know where the drugs come from. Mike can't say it on his platform, but y'all know. Wasn't from us. We didn't create it, nor did we ship them in. Let's just be real. But this is the reality to it. This is what is what. I'm about to drop a video right now about the looting that y'all was seeing and who was the Fagin behind it. Who was the orchestrator? Who was the person that was manipulating the smash and grabs? Because y'all don't know, but I'm about to drop that video. Because y'all need to see this stuff. Because at the end of the day, what's real is really real. We are in a position where we did all this getting these people to loosen up these chains on our neck and on our feet and on our hands for all these other nations.
Shout out to Frank J. Frank J has also blessed us with a beautiful, sizable Cash App as well. Shout out to my man Frank J for the Cash App, man. Man. It is what it is, man. I appreciate you guys for the love and support. Y'all didn't pull it up. You guys didn't show major love and support for today's show, and I appreciate you guys dearly. Sincerely.
To come in and get the benefits of us loosening up the chains. Go figure. And then all of them don't help us knowing our plight, knowing what we've been dealing with since we've been here. We ain't beefing with our people. Yeah, we got some people that done turned their back on their own nation and helping. But the reality is our nation of people don't control any economic or political power in America. That's still controlled by the colonizers. And y'all know what's being done. So when you see the Latinos talking about they trying to get reparations for what the Dodge Stadium did by taking their land out there in the 1950s out in Los Angeles, it's like, go figure.
Mexicans was not talking about reparations until they seen foundational Black Americans fighting for it, right? They don't even pay homage to the people that they learned from. They don't even pay homage to the people that they steal their game from. You study our blueprint for civil rights. You study our blueprint for music, for everything we do, but then you want to call us mayates and this and that behind the scenes, behind closed doors, around your family members. And you wonder why there's so much hatred in their community for Black folks, because they practice racism in their home. They practice racism in their community. This anti-Black mentality comes from their homelands. It comes from their country. Via Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Colombia, Venezuela. This anti-Black mindset comes from their homeland. You dig what I'm saying? And they think that we don't know, like we can't see it. It's clear as looking out of the damn window in broad daylight. Got you searching for clues in broad daylight, walking around with a flashlight. You lack vision and aim. You are blind to the damn facts.
And notice how they ain't saying nothing about other people that was in those same areas like our people. They just saying their people. They ain't saying no black and brown or no brown and black. Oh, this is the brown. It's the Latinos. And you think they're going to not give them what they're asking for? you better think again, because they're not black. They're not Aboriginal Negroes. So 9 times out of 10, most likely, if they're asking for money and land, guess what, guys? They're already getting money and land right now as they coming in as the immigrants. Don't you see it? They don't got nothing for you. Nothing for you. And obviously, I'm starting to think you okay with that.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You get nothing. All that huffing and puffing, all that bluffing, just to turn around and get absolutely nothing. King Supreme, delivering straight-laced game. On the real, the truth is a bitter pill.
So go out and have some belief, that witchcraft word. Go out and have some faith and some hope for a system that don't have no faith, no hope, and no belief in you. Go vote. Good luck. Because with that,
shout out to that brother for doing this thing. Listen here, man. I got to clock out. I'll bring you guys, we're working on, we have limited time today, man. I wanted to do a panel, but I think we'll do a panel for a late night show. I wanted to cook today with just me cooking. I'll come back on a late night. I'll fire up a show tonight. Well, I'll drop the link and pull some of you people up on the panel to speak. And we're going to go over all of this stuff. Reparations for foundational Black Americans. Let me tell you something. Black immigrants only represent 2%, maybe 3% at the most when it comes to the overall population in this country. So we got to go hard on the tethers. Of course, we must put the tethers in check. We must demand our respect from every angle. But the biggest threat to you and your dominance is the Latino. Why do I say this? Because they're dumping Latinos and Black communities to overpopulate you. It's easy for the Latinos to come over here by the millions. Why? Because we share a border with Mexico. That's why it's so easy for them to overpopulate. You know what I mean? Overthrow you politically, overpopulate you in your own communities across the country. That is the plan by the you know what, by the you know who. Let me tell you what you need to do. Stop voting Democrat. I'm not telling you that you need to be Republican. The hell with the Democrats and the Republicans. But let me tell you this. I'm so disappointed in foundational Black Americans. I got to say this. 90-something% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. And why? Because that's identity politics. They voted for her because she's a Black woman. She's a Black woman. So they believe that she's a Black woman. Kamala Harris promoted open borders, overpopulated your communities with these illegals. So it shows you that by large, the overwhelming majority of Black women are lost. I'm not talking about the ones who come to your platform that agree with you. Let's talk about real life and what's going on when the internet ain't rolling, when the cameras ain't rolling on the internet. 90+% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. They ought to be embarrassed about that. Kamala Harris promoted open borders and abortions for Black women so that we would continue to decrease our population while the Latinos increase their population. The Latinos, even if they deleted their babies, guess what? They have millions crossing the borders yearly to dump anchor babies for the sole purpose of what? Birthright citizenship. You better wake up and smell what's going on. They told Black women it's best to abort your baby. Tyrone ain't finna help you with that kid. He ain't finna help you with none of those bills. You're gonna be a struggling single mom. You better off aborting that baby and focusing on your career. Get your education. Abort that damn baby girl. You don't need to be having Tyrone, baby. So the whole time while they promoted abortions to the Black women, they wasn't doing the same in their community. So basically, they told Black women to do something that they wasn't willing to do for themselves or to their people. White women never aborted their babies at the same rate that Black women did. No other race aborts their babies at the same rate that American Black women do. And guess what? Kamala Harris said, you know how dumb a lot of these females are? Kamala Harris gonna give us the right to do whatever we want to do with our body. It's my body, my choice. Kamala Harris gonna give us the freedom to do whatever we want to do with our body. If I get pregnant and I want to get rid of the baby, I want to get rid of the baby. It's my body, my choice. And they promoted that buffoonery to foundational Black American women. Foundational Black American women, and I say this out of love. I don't say this because I hate you. I'm saying this because I'm trying to educate you. The Black American woman, FBA women, have aborted over 20 plus million babies since the damn 1970s. They promoted death and destruction to our community, and our women fell for it. They bit the forbidden fruit. They bit the forbidden fruit, telling you to abort their babies while they try to multiply their population in their communities. But we're going to tell Black American women, yeah, girl, you need to abort that baby. Pookie and Tyrone ain't going to be there to help you. You're going to be a struggling single mom. You need to focus on your job career. You need to focus on your education. Get rid of that baby. Go to the abortion clinic. We just put an abortion clinic in your community, girl. Get rid of that damn baby. So they told Black women to abort their offsprings, to abort their babies in order to decrease our population. Man. Telling Black women it's best for them to abort their babies while they keep their babies and multiply their numbers in their communities. Huh? Tyrone ain't finna help you to keep that baby. Tyrone don't want to be a fan. Well, why don't you tell a Black woman to keep her legs closed? Stop telling the Black woman to abort her babies. Tell her to keep her legs closed until she gets with a man that really wants to be with her, that's gonna help her to raise that kid. Why don't you tell them that? Tell her to keep her legs closed until she find a man that's worth the damn. But you got to be a woman that's worth the damn to deserve a damn man that's worth the damn. Better men want better women. So you cannot tell a feminist or a hood rat that she deserves a better man when she herself is not a better woman. Better men want better women. You can't get a better man without being a better damn woman. Who lied to these broads?
I just don't get it. Go vote. Good luck.
You got hood rats and educated female feminists. I want me a better. You ain't a damn better woman, so you don't deserve no better man. Water seeks his own level. You get what you get. You get what you deserve. You didn't earn it. If you didn't earn it, it means that you don't deserve it. You don't deserve no damn good man because you ain't a damn good woman. No amount of education will make you a good woman. No amount of money is going to make you a good woman. Your upbringing, your personality, and mentality will determine if you a good woman or not. And it is up to men to decide if you a good woman. Because guess what? If men don't look at it like you're a good woman, why would he marry you? So it doesn't matter how you look at yourself in the mirror. If men don't see it that way, you're not going to get married. You are delusional. You're making decisions based off of your own feelings and emotions. I'm a good woman. I'm this, I'm that. According to whose standards that you say that you a good woman? You notice all they say, I'm a good woman. I did it. Okay, according to whose standards that you're a good woman? If you're not a good woman by men's standards, you'll never get married. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count until a man co-sign it, because guess what? It takes a man to give you his last name. So if men don't look at it like you're better women, then you don't get a better man because you don't qualify for that, sweet. You don't qualify for that, shorty. Stop telling these female feminists who got good job. Listen, I got to say this to the women. Just because you have money, career, and education doesn't mean that you have wife qualities. None of that means anything when it comes to you getting married. It might mean something for your career. It might mean something for you academically. But when it comes to you getting married, money and education doesn't mean that you have wife qualities. And for some reason, Black women don't seem to get that. They don't grasp that concept. Black women have been tricked and fooled and bamboozled into believing as long as I got an education and a job, that means I'm a quality woman. No, the hell it does not. No, it does not. You wonder why the most educated women are the least married women, because they make terrible wives. They're not feminine. They took on a whole lot of masculinity and a lot of masculine energy. Therefore, they're not fit to be anybody's wife. They are fit to work for the white man at his corporation. They are fit to work for the white man at his company, but they're not fit to be anybody's wives. They've been indoctrinated with womanism, feminism, female rights, and they're going to prioritize that first. They don't give a damn about you. Anyway, peace, love, and blessings. Now, the men, let me say this to the brothers, though. I got on the ladies' helmet. I got to get on you brothers' helmet. Hey, man, all this gang banging and killing, robbing and stealing, doing it to your own people, that's holding us back. That has set us back 50 years. Matter of fact, 40 to 100 years. I'll say 100 to 200 years, that mentality has set black men back. The white man ain't forcing you to unalive your brothers. The white man ain't telling you you need to do this to your people. Get your priorities straight. Vision, wisdom, and navigation. Realize what you are facing. Nobody underlies themselves at the same rate that black men underlies themselves. So I know people who are white men underlie each other too. Latinos underlie. Yes, they do. But nobody's doing it at the same rate that black men are doing it to each other here in the United States of America. That's something that we need to get straight as black men. We got to get our stuff together too. I can go in on the women, but at the same time, I got to go in on the brothers for some of the things that we are doing. It is foolishness. It is ridiculous. Some people say when you know better, you do better. And that's not always the case. You got a lot of people who know better, but they still don't do better. They don't have the discipline to do better. So they'll say, well, what is the solution? A crackhead knows the solution is to stop smoking crack, but he doesn't have enough discipline to stop smoking the crack. An alcoholic, somebody who drinks too much, they know the solution would be to stop drinking so much, but they don't have the discipline to do it. So when people tell me what's the solution is never rocket science. The reality of it is most of you people don't have the discipline to execute the game plan. So you pretend like you don't know what the solution is when the solution is staring you right in the face. You don't want to be fat no more. Stop eating so much. You want to run around at 300 plus pounds and you say, well, what's the solution? You need to take your fat ass away from the dinner table. You need to start exercising and lose some damn weight. That is a simple solution. But guess what? You don't have the discipline to walk your big ass away from the dinner table. You ain't got enough discipline to keep that pork off of your damn fork. You understand what the damn solution is, but you don't have the discipline to execute the game plan. That's exactly what it is. It is King Supreme. I'm signing off. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure that you subscribe to the channel right now. Realer than rap, no baseball cap, giving you the hard-hitting facts. Game delivered by King Supreme. I'm gone, y'all. Catch me on